On the morning of January 23, 2006, 24-year-old Jennifer Kesse, a young woman full of promise and ambition, mysteriously vanished from her apartment in Orlando, Florida. She had just begun to carve out a successful life for herself, working in finance and enjoying the vibrancy of being in her 20s. But what began as an ordinary day would soon turn into a haunting mystery that continues to baffle authorities and capture the hearts of millions who follow her case. Despite numerous efforts from law enforcement, private investigators, and her family, Jennifer's disappearance remains unsolved, and the questions surrounding her case only grow with time. Jennifer Kesse was the kind of person who had a bright future ahead of her. She was well-liked by her friends and family, and she had a solid job as a finance manager at a company in Orlando. She lived in a small, one-bedroom apartment in a complex that, on the surface, seemed like a safe and quiet place. But on that day in January 2006, Jennifer would leave for work as usual and never return. Her story, now over 15 years old, is one of the most unsettling and talked about true crime cases in recent history. When Jennifer didn't show up for work the next day, her family and friends became immediately concerned. They knew something was wrong. Jennifer had a routine. She was responsible and always kept in touch. Her mother, immediately alarmed, contacted Jennifer's apartment complex and asked them to do a wellness check. When authorities arrived, they found Jennifer's apartment locked, her car parked in its usual spot, and no signs of forced entry or struggle. Her purse, cell phone, and keys were still inside the apartment, adding to the mystery of her disappearance. It was as though Jennifer had just vanished in a thin air. The case took a more disturbing turn when investigators began looking into the surveillance footage from the apartment complex. There, they saw something unsettling. A person wearing dark clothing and a cap walking towards Jennifer's car. The footage was grainy and unclear, but it appeared to show this figure entering Jennifer's car and driving off. The unsettling part? Jennifer was nowhere in sight, and the car left the complex without any indication of a struggle or confrontation. The footage offered few clues, and the figure's identity remained a mystery. After Jennifer's car was found abandoned about 5 miles from her apartment, things only grew more confusing. No personal items were missing, no blood or signs of foul play were discovered inside the car. It appeared as though Jennifer had simply disappeared. Law enforcement quickly started to piece together theories. Could Jennifer have been kidnapped by a stranger? Was she abducted by someone who had been watching her, perhaps someone she didn't even know? Or was it possible that someone close to Jennifer, a friend, a former lover, or an acquaintance, was involved in her disappearance? Over the months and years that followed, the case grew colder. Investigators questioned everyone from Jennifer's friends and family to neighbors and coworkers, but there were no solid leads. Theories abounded. Some believed the case had to be the work of a stranger, someone who had carefully stalked Jennifer and planned her abduction. Others felt that the answer might lie closer to home, someone she knew, a person who could have easily gained her trust and orchestrated her disappearance. Yet, despite an exhaustive search and dozens of interviews, nothing concrete came to light. As time passed, various suspects were named, but none were ever charged. Jennifer's ex-boyfriend, who had recently been in a relationship with her, came under suspicion, but there was no evidence linking him to her disappearance. Some even speculated that Jennifer's disappearance could be tied to the person in the surveillance footage, an unidentified individual who had been seen near her apartment complex that day. Investigators tried to enhance the video, hoping to make out more details, but the image remained too blurry to identify the person. The case stagnated. With each passing year, the lack of progress in finding Jennifer felt more and more like a grim reality that her family would have to live with forever. The frustration was compounded by the fact that no one seemed to have any answers. In 2011, the case seemed to take a new turn when a potential lead emerged. A man named Michael P. was connected to the case, and there was some speculation that he could hold the key to unlocking the mystery. However, after a thorough investigation, it was concluded that he was not connected to Jennifer's disappearance, and the lead ultimately fizzled out. More years passed, and the questions still lingered. What happened to Jennifer Kesse? As the years turned into decades, the case continued to capture the public's attention. New theories emerged, including the possibility that Jennifer was abducted by a serial killer, as her case bore similarities to others. Was she a victim of a predator who had been stalking the area? Or had she simply encountered the wrong person at the wrong time? These questions, and many others, remain unanswered. In 2016, Jennifer's parents, who had never stopped searching for their daughter, decided to take matters into their own hands. They publicly called for further investigation into the case, expressing frustration at the lack of progress. The Kesses offered a reward for any information that could lead to a breakthrough. They also took to social media, hoping that fresh eyes on the case might uncover something that had been missed. This led to a renewed effort to solve the case. But even with the increased attention, no new leads emerged. More recently, as technology and investigative techniques have advanced, there have been renewed efforts to solve Jennifer's case. DNA testing, new forensic technologies, and renewed public interest have sparked hope that one day, the truth will finally come to light. Investigators have continued to look into potential connections between Jennifer's disappearance and other unsolved cases, hoping that new evidence will emerge. In 2021, Jennifer's parents filed a lawsuit against the Orlando Police Department, demanding more action be taken in the case. Their frustration and desperation were evident as they questioned why, after so many years, there was still no resolution. The disappearance of Jennifer Kesse is a haunting and tragic case, one that continues to torment her family and loved ones. Despite the passage of time, her parents still hold on to hope that one day, someone will come forward with the information needed to solve this mystery. Every new year without answers feels like another blow to their hearts, but they continue to search for justice, determined to find out what happened to their daughter. Could the mysterious figure in the surveillance footage hold the key to unlocking the case? Was Jennifer targeted by a stranger, or could someone she knew have been involved? The possibilities are endless, but until someone comes forward with the truth, Jennifer's case will remain unsolved, a tragic reminder that some mysteries simply refuse to be solved. So what do you think? Will we ever know the truth about Jennifer Kesse's disappearance? Could the renewed interest and new technologies finally crack the case? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories as we continue to search for answers in some of the most mysterious and heartbreaking cases of all time.